My backstory, I just did everything wrong as a kid. I literally walked out of fourth grade elementary school and just walked into a store and I guess five-finger discount, some fishing supplies. I went fishing and I never went back. Very, very bad household that I grew up in, so nobody was really checking. And I kept doing that wrong thing for a long time. My friends later, or my peers, or people that became friends later on, they didn't. They did the whole. They went to school, the normal thing. They got a high school diploma. They went to college, and they were getting these jobs that paid money that allowed you to get a home. Like get a home and like do adult things. And I was, a dairy clerk in Publix, delivering subs in a sub shop, selling cigars. And I had an expensive ex-girlfriend, which I should thank her because it's what got me into selling on eBay. I got hooked on the process of selling on eBay. Friends and family saw that mind you, at this point, this is, I'd say 16 and a half years ago. And friends and family saw that I was doing something that wasn't going to land me at either like life in prison or ODing. And they were like, let's support this. And they were throwing that term around like entrepreneur. I had to look it up. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Finally, something I can identify with. And they pulled together $81,000 and I went to my supplier. My most profitable product at the time was this adult novelty item, this silicone ring with a motor. I'm going to leave it for that. And it was for guys, but I'd get it for 16 cents. We'd sell it for 20 something dollars. And I went to my supplier, Elvis from Pleasure Chest, still exists to this day on Alibaba, by the way, if you want to reach out. And he told me we don't have 80,000. Obvious to us now, as successful, entrepreneurs and accustomed to working with suppliers, no one holds like $80,000 of inventory there with your perfect packaging, right? So I got offended that he didn't have the inventory. I thought, wrongly that all factories held that kind of inventory. And I found someone else that had it on Alibaba. Keep in mind, this is approximately 16 years ago on Alibaba. Like this is Wild Wild West. It looks nothing like what it looks like right now. And I found a guy named Usman Sise, and had a factory in Hong Kong, and I sent him the money, and he stole everything from me. That was truly my low point. I knew how to be broke. Like there was not going to be a major lifestyle change because that money was gone. It was more, I liked being called an entrepreneur. I liked people looking at me. I liked people asking me about their ideas and whether they'd be profitable. So I tried to hide, successfully, I guess, the fact that I got ripped off. And one of the things I went to go sell to get some seed money to keep going is two of my reptiles, and a Burmese python, Columbia red-tailed boa. And the person in front of me in the reptile store, the pet store, was paying $25 for 50 live worms. Something just clicked. I mean, I have to say it's almost insanity, especially knowing everything that truly goes into running a successful business selling live insects online. It was insanity what I did, but I did it. I couldn't even afford the bins that I would eventually breed these things in. I find an article at a library about zoos potentially saving money by breeding these things, insects like superworms, feeder worms, Jamaican crickets, stuff like that. And instead of buying them top dollar on the private market, I started breeding them. I couldn't afford the bins. I started going to garage sales, paying pennies on the dollar, this hodgepodge thing of bins, creating these environments that they could breed in, eat in, live in, but not escape from, which I wasn't always successful. And this is a residence. So at one point when I exceeded, it was 5 different types of insects, and each one had over 3 million of each. And I'm selling them. Code enforcement comes to my house one night. I mean, imagine 3.5 million crickets going off at night. It's definitely, it's like, forget it. You can't imagine. Like I had earplugs in the house. So I bluffed them and said if I threw it out, it'd be an agricultural disaster. They went for it. Friend lets me get a warehouse, rent free, half of it. It wound up being my whole thing because who wants to work in an insect warehouse? And long story short, I guess, is, 9-10 months later, I wind up, I'm working 90 to 100 hours. I'm sleeping on the floor, making every mistake known to man. And I wind up getting approached and sold the company for $2.6 million. And then I've just never looked back.